Welcome back, everyone. I'm Hanu and I made this. Spoiler alerts ahead if you haven't seen Alien vs. Predator. I have to remind myself in these videos to allow for some quiet moments. It's a nervous habit of mine to try and fill the silence. Sometimes I get too excited and I tend to ramble. It's not a bad thing. But the main thing I'm featuring on this channel is my art, not my hilarious jokes and movie references. Those are just a bonus. So let's get started. In the movie Alien vs. Predator, Alexa Woods, played by Sana Lathan, is an environmental technician and survivalist. She is forced to ally with a predator hunter named Scar after her entire team is killed off. He's the last of his three brothers to survive their coming-of-age trial, which is a hunt of the deadly Xenomorphs from the original Alien movies. I think this team-up was such a unique approach to the franchise, and I really wish we'd see more of this pair in later movies. In fact, I love the pairing so much I wrote a fanfiction and drew a picture of them last year as a birthday present to myself. It's up on my Instagram if you're curious. We'll begin these custom dolls with Scar. I started making Scar about a year and a half ago. My doll base was a click-and-play soldier from Amazon. These are a great option if you don't want to sculpt muscles on your regular doll body, even though I did sculpt over the whole thing anyway. I got this little Scar action figure on eBay to help me figure out the body shape and armor, and he was a great help. Initially, I thought I would stick with the vinyl head that came with the doll and just sculpt over it, but that didn't work. It really wasn't looking the way that I wanted him to. I kept working at it and waiting for it to get better, and it didn't. So instead I sculpted his head from scratch using polymer clay. And unfortunately, I was so frustrated and tired of it not looking how I wanted it to that I didn't film it. I took pictures though. He did get a little burned in the oven, but he's tough. He'll be fine. He ended up looking like this. Big improvement over the first attempt. The tendrils were proof that there are multiple ways to reach a similar result when creating something. At first I used Cos clay, a polymer clay that remains flexible after baking. I sculpted it around wires that would be attached to the head, but they came out kind of lumpy and thick, not uniform sizes like I wanted. If I had more sculpting skills, they'd probably turn out better. So I switched to shrink tubing around wires so that they would all be the same size. I pre-drilled holes in Scar's head and secured the tendrils with plastic bonder. I've seen Hexgen use these on his dolls, and it's a great tool for customizing. His dolls are always fabulous. Go check out his channel. So after much revising, and after completely painting him the somewhat right colors, I decided I needed him to be a little chonkier. Because if you look at Scar, he's a thick boy. So I added muscle definition as an underlayer, and then sculpted on top of that with air-dried clay. He's a semi-ball jointed doll by this point because I added an extra joint in his torso for more posability. The elastic connected to his head is strung through the hollow torso and abdomen and hooked on the pelvis. Delightful was a great inspiration for figuring out how to make a semi-ball jointed doll with the supplies you've got. So go check out her channel. She is, after all, the OG doll customizer. I used reference pictures and screenshots so I could get his colors right. His paint job started with black on the back of his head and body, fading into dark green, and then into yellowish tan on his front. My perfectionist side noticed I had gone a little far with the texture on his head, and there's actually smooth bits on his forehead, which I wanted to add. After that, I gave him his scar earned during his rite of passage, marking him as a fully blooded hunter. Fun fact, the symbol is supposed to represent the crouched form of a xenomorph. I finished up his paint job by going over the black parts with airbrush paint. I ended up dry brushing him with some color shift paint to give his skin a little reptilian shimmer. I'll show you the result later on. For now, let's move on to the movie's main protagonist, Lex. Since Scar required a lot of construction and revision, I decided to go easy on myself when it came to Lex, sticking with just doing the face-up, hair, and shirt from scratch, and then upcycling the rest of her outfit. I rerouted her hair off screen and did small braids in her hair to give it a subtle curl like she has at the end of the movie. I prefer yarn hair on my dolls because I have a hard time controlling nylon hair, and yarn is so much more manageable for me. For doing natural hair as well, I find that yarn is superior in giving the right texture and styling for dolls of color, if done right. I found this beautiful face sculpt on a hiking Barbie, I think, and was lucky enough to snag 2 of them in case I messed up replicating Sana Lathon's beautiful face. It won't be a perfect match, but we can get it close with teeny tiny brushes and thin layers of paint. I've taken to using acrylic paints and Duraclear Ultra Matte varnish on my dolls as opposed to Mr. Super Clear, just as a personal preference. I use my airbrush or a makeup sponge for blush and highlights, or to block out sections on the doll if needed. I go more into that on my previous doll, Catherine the Regency Creature, if you're interested in that process. And it was at this point my phone died and I didn't realize it. To say the least, I was very disappointed. But I finished her face off camera, and this is how she looks. It'll never look exactly like the actress because the Barbie face shape is completely different. But I'm happy I even got her looking this close to her. One of the accessories I wanted to make for Lex was the Xenomorph head she uses as a shield. After all, you keep what you kill. I sculpted it from air-dry clay using wires for the innards and riches, and hot glue for the gooey stuff. I evened out the texture on it with dimensional paint to see if I could get that smooth finish they have on their heads. It's not perfect, but we can call it battle damage. A little color shift paint on the innards, and this Xeno head is ready. I'm not being super movie accurate with the outfits and armor because these dolls are more like my fanfiction versions of events after the movie, in which certain characters don't get killed off just to set up a sequel. Lex still has her signature red jacket, only in leather this time, and a burgundy top that I sewed with crossing straps for an edgy look. She's also getting some Predator-appropriate weapons I found on AliExpress. They're actually earrings and ear cuffs, but they look so Yautja-esque. I improvised some pieces of Scar's armor because I wanted it to look different from the movie's version after he's been fully blooded. The thermal netting the Yautja wear has a relatively loose weave, and I found this little mesh bag I could repurpose for them. I used foam sheets to make his armor and hot glue for the raised details. Delightful has a great tutorial for that, and Enchantarium did something similar. I'll link both down below. I'm sure I'm not the only one out there who finds a ship I love and wants to make dolls for it. Honestly, it happens with any kind of movie or book I fall in love with. It's almost a kind of fan art in itself. I have tons of ideas for more single and couple dolls I could do on this channel. Next video will probably be a continuation of my gothic gals because I think my Catherine doll could use some friends. If you have ideas for what you'd like to see me make, leave them down below in the comments. These dolls were definitely a journey, Scar in particular with all the revisions he went through, but I am really happy with how they both came out. And now they're ready to go on adventures together again. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see me make more stuff like this, and please leave comments. I promise I read them all. See you next time!